The Quartermain family has always held a special place in my heart, with their sharp tongues, big secrets, and unbreakable loyalty that somehow survives every storm. Lately, though, the storyline involving Tracy and her granddaughter Brook Lynn has me leaning forward in my chair, feeling that familiar rush of anticipation mixed with genuine concern. It's the kind of layered, emotional tangle that reminds me why I've stayed with this show through all these years. Tracy, played with that wonderful no-nonsense fire by Jane Elliott, is doing everything in her power to bury a painful secret tied to a recent car accident that left Jordan scarred and shaken. Brook Lynn confessed to her grandmother that she had been behind the wheel after having a glass of wine, swerved in a moment of distraction, and may have contributed to the crash that injured Jordan so badly. Instead of encouraging her to come clean, Tracy immediately went into full protection mode, urging Brook Lynn to stay silent, hide the damaged car, and never speak of it again. I can understand Tracy's fierce instinct to shield her family. After all, she spent decades fighting for the Quartermain name, but I keep wondering if these efforts to cover everything up are actually pulling both women deeper into danger rather than protecting them. The heat is rising fast in this tale. Tracy's determination to keep the truth hidden is creating ripples that could explode at any moment. Jordan is waking up to face her new reality, dealing with visible scars and emotional pain while believing her own distraction might have caused the accident. Meanwhile, Brook Lynn is carrying the heavy weight of guilt that grows heavier every day. She can barely look at herself in the mirror, knowing her actions may have hurt someone else, and now she's watching her beloved grandmother risk everything to maintain the lie. It's heartbreaking to see a young woman like Brook Lynn, who has fought so hard to build a stable life with Chase, suddenly trapped in this moral quicksand. What touches me most is how this secret is forcing real change in Brook Lynn. She's always been passionate and a bit impulsive, but lately she's showing a maturity I didn't expect. The guilt is eating at her, and she's reaching a point where she simply cannot accept the danger she has placed Tracy in. Tracy's cover-up efforts, meant to keep the family safe, are instead making everything feel more volatile. One wrong word, one suspicious glance from Dante or the police, and the whole thing could blow up in their faces. I've seen enough Quartermain scandals over the years to know that secrets this heavy rarely stay buried forever, yet the way the writers are unfolding this feels fresh and deeply personal. Brook Lynn is proving she's ready to face the consequences in her own way. She's beginning to accept the full weight of what happened and is moving toward a difficult but honest adjustment, preparing herself to confess everything that unfolded that night. I can already picture the emotional scenes ahead where she turns to her husband Chase for help. She'll pour out her heart, begging him to stand by her as she tries to make things right. Chase has always been the steady moral compass in her life, the one who believes in doing the right thing even when it's painful. Will he help her navigate the fallout, or will this test their marriage in ways they've never faced before? I believe their love is strong enough to weather this storm, but the journey there is going to be filled with raw, honest moments that make us viewers reach for the tissues. This storyline stands apart from many of the high-stakes disasters we've seen in the past. Unlike the explosive lab threats or international threats we've watched unfold with the Phasons and Cassidines, this one hits close to home in a quieter, more intimate way. It's about everyday choices with life-altering results. Having that extra glass of wine, swerving at the wrong second, and then choosing silence over truth. Tracy's ruthless protection of the family legacy feels true to her character, yet it also highlights how even the strongest matriarchs can make decisions that endanger the very people they love most. Brook Lynn's internal struggle adds such beautiful depth. She's not just running from trouble anymore. She's confronting it head-on, showing growth that feels earned after years of watching her evolve from a troubled teen into a woman with real heart. I keep asking myself how far Tracy will go to keep this secret intact. She's already hidden the car and warned Brook Lynn to stay quiet around everyone, including Dante. But the more she pushes to control the narrative, the more the tension builds. Port Charles has a way of uncovering the truth, whether through a chance conversation or a piece of overlooked evidence. When the secret finally surfaces, and I suspect it will, the explosion won't be loud like a lab accident. It will be the quiet kind that shatters relationships and forces everyone to rebuild. Yet, even in that potential pain, I see hope. Brook Lynn's willingness to confess and seek Chase's support shows she's choosing accountability over easy escape. That kind of courage is what keeps me invested after all these decades. The beauty of General Hospital has always been its ability to blend big, dramatic threats with these deeply human stories. While other corners of Port Charles may be dealing with their own dangers, Jason's return, Britt's health struggles, or the lingering shadows of old enemies. This Quartermain secret feels like the emotional heartbeat of the current canvas. It reminds us that family isn't just about blood or money, it's about standing together when the mistakes of one member threaten them all. Tracy's fierce love for Brook Lynn might be misguided in its methods, but it comes from a lifetime of protecting her own. Brook Lynn's emerging resolve to fix what she broke proves she's learned from the strong women around her. As someone who has watched this town survive floods, shootings, kidnappings, and countless broken hearts, I'm confident the writers will handle this with the sensitivity and fire it deserves. The danger feels real because it's so personal. Every episode leaves me wondering what Brook Lynn will say to Chase, how Jordan will heal both physically and emotionally, and whether Tracy's iron will can hold the line or if it will crack under the pressure. The air in Port Charles feels thick with unspoken words and building consequences, yet underneath it all there's that steady promise of redemption and second chances that has kept me coming back year after year. I wouldn't trade these afternoons for anything. The show continues to deliver stories that make my heart race and my eyes well up, proving that even after more than 60 years on air, General Hospital still knows how to make us care deeply. Brook Lynn's journey toward confession, Tracy's protective fire, and the quiet strength of family bonds are weaving something special right now. The heat is on, the emotions are running high, and I, for one, cannot wait to see how it all unfolds. Port Charles never lets us down when it comes to reminding us that love, guilt, forgiveness, and courage are what truly keep this town and this beloved soap alive and thriving. I'll be right here with my coffee, ready for whatever comes next. Because in the end, that's what being a longtime fan is all about, staying through every secret, every tear, and every hard-won moment of grace. The show has walked beside me through raising children, watching grandchildren grow, and every twist life could throw my way. What keeps me coming back is the way the writers take ordinary mistakes and turn them into stories that feel so real they could happen right down the street. Right now, the unfolding drama around the car accident that injured Jordan has me absolutely riveted, my heart pounding with every new development. It started as a quiet Quartermain family secret, but it's exploding into something far bigger, and I can feel the heat rising in ways that remind me of the show's very best storytelling. Tracy, with that signature fire Jane Elliott brings to every scene, has been working overtime to bury the truth. She convinced her granddaughter Brook Lynn to stay silent about her role in the crash, that extra glass of wine, the moment of distraction, the swerve that may have contributed to Jordan's injuries. Tracy's protective instincts are classic Quartermain, fierce and unyielding, but I've watched enough of these cover-ups over the decades to know they rarely stay hidden forever. What touches me most is how Brook Lynn has grown through all of this. She's no longer the impulsive young woman I remember from years ago. She's ready to accept whatever punishment comes her way. I see real maturity in her eyes these days, the quiet resolve of someone who understands that hiding from the truth only makes the eventual reckoning harder. She's prepared to face the consequences, even if it means losing everything she's built with Chase. That kind of courage makes me proud of her character in a way I haven't felt in a long time. But here's where the story takes one of those classic General Hospital turns that keeps us longtime viewers glued to the screen. Chase, bless his steady heart, has been harboring quiet suspicions about the accident from the very beginning. He loves Brook Lynn deeply, and instead of simply accepting the version of events she first shared, he's been digging, reviewing police reports, talking to witnesses, and piecing together every small detail. He's doing everything in his power to prove his wife is innocent, convinced there's more to the story than anyone is saying. I keep asking myself how far a good man like Chase will go to protect the woman he loves, and the show answers that question beautifully. His determination is creating fresh adjustments in their marriage, forcing them both to confront what trust really means when the stakes are this high. It's a change that feels earned and deeply human. What Chase has uncovered is nothing short of shocking, even for a town that's seen its share of secrets. He's learned that Carly has been hiding a horrific crime of her own. Carly, always the fierce protector of her family, has been covering up the real events of that night. The truth, as it turns out, is far more complicated and heartbreaking than anyone imagined. It wasn't Brook Lynn behind the wheel in the way we first believed. The real cause of Jordan's accident points straight to two young people who never should have been involved at all, Danny and Charlotte. Yes, those two bright, troubled kids from very different worlds somehow crossed paths that night, and their reckless actions led to the crash that changed Jordan's life forever. The revelation hit me like a thunderclap. Danny, Jason's son, and Charlotte, with all the Cassadine intensity running through her veins, were in the wrong place at the wrong time, making choices that spiraled out of control. Carly knew, and she chose silence to shield them, just as Tracy chose silence to shield Brook Lynn. This bombshell is creating a whole new wave of shock and adjustment across Port Charles. Brook Lynn's readiness to accept punishment suddenly feels both noble and misplaced, because the guilt she's been carrying was never hers alone. Chase's efforts to clear her name have accidentally pulled back the curtain on Carly's cover-up, and now the whole town is feeling the tremors. I can already sense the new disaster brewing: legal consequences, family betrayals, and emotional fallout that could ripple through the Morgans, the Quartermains, and the Cassadines all at once. Jordan, still recovering from her injuries, deserves the full truth, and when it comes out, it's going to test loyalties in ways we haven't seen in years. Will Carly's fierce love for her son survive the backlash? Will Brook Lynn and Chase find even stronger ground now that the real story is emerging? I believe they will, but the road there is going to be filled with the kind of raw, honest conversations that make this show so special. What I love most about this storyline is how it proves General Hospital still knows how to surprise us while staying true to its characters. Danny and Charlotte aren't villains, they're kids who made a terrible mistake, much like so many young people we've watched grow up on this canvas. Their involvement adds layers of complexity that feel fresh and different from the big lab disasters or international threats we've seen before. This is personal, intimate, and deeply emotional. It's about parents making impossible choices, spouses learning to trust through doubt, and a new generation learning that actions have consequences far beyond themselves. Chase's discovery isn't just solving a mystery, it's forcing everyone to adjust in beautiful, painful ways. Brook Lynn can finally breathe easier knowing the full truth, yet she's still choosing accountability. That blend of grace and strength is exactly why I've stayed with this show for 4 decades.